The Galactic Academy was not built for quiet. It was alive, buzzing with the chatter of 100 different species, all trying to prove who was smartest, fastest, or weirdest. The hallways shimmered with floating lights, the air smelled faintly of ozone and cinnamon, and everywhere students carried datapads glowing with the colors of their homeworlds. And right in the middle of it all sat Zyra of the Veiled Moons, alone at a cafeteria table meant for 8. Her skin gleamed like liquid starlight, a deep violet that shimmered faintly with every breath. 4 silver eyes blinked slowly as she poked at a tray of glowing blue food cubes. Her long tendrils draped down from her head like living ribbons, curling and uncurling in small, anxious twitches. She didn't look up when the laughter started. "Don't stare, she might zap you with those eyes," snickered a scaled Marnathi from the next table. "She doesn't even blink right," another whispered. "Creepy." Zyra said nothing. Her kind were used to mockery outside their system. The Veiled Moons were a quiet, elegant people, artists of light, poets of silence. They didn't fight or roar or show teeth like most of the galaxy thought you should. She was used to being stared at, but not like this. Then across the crowded cafeteria, someone new appeared, a human. He walked like he didn't belong here, yet somehow owned the place. Tall, a bit scruffy, hair the color of old gold, wearing a flight jacket far too casual for the Academy's polished halls. His name tag read, Eli Graham, Earth. He looked around, scanning the room for an empty seat. Most tables were full, except one, the one with the violet alien no one dared to sit beside. And so, naturally, he went straight for it. Zyra's 4 eyes flicked up when his tray clattered down across from her. "Excuse me," she said, her voice like a soft melody through glass. "This table is—" "Empty," Eli interrupted, dropping into the chair with a grin. "Exactly what I needed." She hesitated. "You wish to sit with me?" He shrugged, spearing a cube of something suspiciously green. "Unless you bite, do you bite?" Her lower eyes widened. "No." "Good, I'm not into that on the first meal." Zyra tilted her head, unsure whether to be offended or intrigued. Humans spoke with strange humor, layers of meaning under words that didn't match their tone. "You are bold." "Just polite," he said, smiling. "Figured I should say hello to the most interesting person in the room." Her tendrils curled faintly, a shy motion like someone hiding a smile. "Interesting. Most find me unsettling." "Then they're blind." She blinked, all 4 eyes at once this time. "Blind." Eli gestured toward the wide window beside her. Beyond it stretched the endless stars, glittering in clusters of gold and sapphire. "You're sitting by the best view in the galaxy," he said, "and you match it perfectly." Zyra froze. For a moment the cafeteria noise faded into nothing. She didn't know how to respond. On her homeworld, compliments were rare and sacred things, traded like precious stones. "Humans are strange," she murmured at last. "Yeah," Eli said cheerfully, chewing something that might have been a purple noodle. "That's what my last girlfriend said, too." That earned him a laugh or something close to it. Zyra's voice sounded like wind chimes in the rain. "You are a curious creature, Eli Graham of Earth." He grinned. "And you're the first person here who hasn't called me primitive yet, so we're even." "Primitive," she echoed. "But humans crossed 12 light centuries to join this academy. You must be clever." Eli smirked. "You'd be surprised what a little stubbornness and caffeine can do." For the first time in weeks, Zyra smiled. An expression subtle and glowing, her lips barely curving, but her eyes warm with light. The moment didn't last. A group of Varkan cadets passed by their table, snickering loudly. "Hey, Graham, careful, she might spawn on your face." The cafeteria roared with laughter. Eli looked up slowly, his smile fading but his eyes still calm. "Hey, fellas," he said, his voice light but steady. "You done practicing your insecurities, or do you need another hour?" The laughter died awkwardly. One of them muttered, "Humans," before stalking off. Zyra blinked at him, astonished. You challenged them." He shrugged again. "I've been called worse in school. Once someone said I looked like a shaved Wookiee, still survived." "I do not know what a Wookiee is," Zyra admitted, "but it sounds unpleasant." "It was," Eli said, and grinned again. "But standing up for people feels better than staying quiet." She studied him carefully then, as if trying to understand what kind of creature he was. Humans were small by galactic standards, fragile even, yet there was something fierce about them, something bright and reckless, like fire trapped in soft skin. "Why?" she asked softly. "Why would you defend when you do not know?" Eli looked out the window again, eyes reflecting the stars. "Because everyone deserves a seat at the table," he said. Then, looking back at her, "even the ones who glow too bright for others to handle." Her heart, if that's what it was, throbbed once hard. The light under her skin pulsed faintly, casting a soft glow across the table. "You speak strange poetry for a pilot." He chuckled. "Guess I'm full of surprises." And just like that, the galaxy's loneliest student found herself smiling at a human, one who didn't flinch at her eyes or mock her shimmer or sit somewhere else. When the bell chimed, Eli stood and picked up his tray. "Same time tomorrow." Zyra hesitated, then nodded. "Perhaps, if you do not fear more stares." He winked. "Let them stare. They'll just be jealous they didn't get invited to the prettiest table in the galaxy." As he walked away, Zyra's tendrils curled tightly in confusion and warmth. No one had ever said such things to her before. For the first time since leaving her home among the veiled moons, she felt something unfamiliar bloom inside her, something like courage or maybe hope. And far above the academy, the stars seemed to pulse a little brighter. The days after Eli sat with Zyra were louder than ever. Whispers followed them everywhere, floating behind like unwanted comets. The human lost his mind, muttered a sharp-toothed Renari. "He's flirting with the jellyfish girl. Maybe he's doing a research project. You know how to talk to glowing weirdos." Zyra pretended not to hear, but her tendrils drooped, their shimmer dimming more each day. It wasn't the first time she'd been mocked, but this time someone else was being mocked because of her. That hurt far worse. Eli didn't seem to care. Every day he sat beside her in the cafeteria, the gardens, even the flight hangar. He talked about Earth things, ice cream, thunderstorms, the smell of rain on pavement. Zyra would listen, fascinated by how human words painted pictures she had never seen. But when he wasn't around, she could feel the laughter pressing in like a fog. One afternoon, she went to the Hover Gardens alone. The air shimmered with silver leaves and glowing pollen drifting like slow snow. She chose the farthest bench, tucked behind an arch of starvine, and sat quietly, hopping to be invisible again. It didn't work. The moment she appeared, a trio of students passing by started whispering. "That's her, the one who trapped the human," said a pink-feathered avian. "He's probably under some kind of psychic influence." Zyra lowered her eyes. "I have no such power," she murmured, but they were already gone. She stayed there, staring at her reflection in the small pond beside the bench. Her violet skin, her silver eyes, the faint glow under her cheeks, all the things that made her strange, alien, wrong in the eyes of everyone here. Maybe they were right. Maybe humans were not meant to sit beside her kind. "Hey!" The voice startled her. She looked up to find Eli standing there, hands in his jacket pockets, hair a bit messy as usual. "How did you find me?" she asked softly. "You always sit near water when you're upset," he said. "Guess I'm learning your habits." Her tendrils flickered pale pink, a shy, nervous color. "You observe too much." He grinned. "Pilot thing helps me not crash into suns." Zyra turned back to the pond. "You shouldn't speak to me so often. They mock you too now." He sat beside her, unbothered. "Let them." Her four eyes narrowed slightly. "Humans have no sense of social danger, it seems." Eli laughed. You sound like my old instructor. He said the same thing right before I flew through a storm on purpose. You are reckless, she said, but her tone was softer this time. Maybe, or maybe I just don't like seeing someone sit alone while a bunch of cowards laugh behind their tails. Zyra looked at him then, really looked. His smile was easy, but his eyes were steady, warm, certain. She felt something twist gently in her chest, a pull that was strange and frightening but also comforting. Why, she whispered, why do you stay near me when it brings you mockery? Eli picked up a smooth blue stone and tossed it into the pond. Ripples spread outward, warping their reflections. You ever hear of a guy named Galileo? He asked. No, is he human? Yeah, long ago. Everyone mocked him because he said the stars didn't spin around the earth, that we spun around them. They called him crazy. And was he? Eli smiled faintly. Nope, just right too soon. Zyra tilted her head. So you compare me to this Galileo? He shrugged. You look at things no one else understands. That's kind of your thing, right? Her tendrils flickered in confusion. My thing. Yeah, your gift. The way you see gravity threads and energy flows when you fly. I've seen your scores in navigation dynamics. You're off the charts. She blinked, caught off guard. You looked at my scores. He raised his hands defensively. I was curious. It's not every day I meet someone who can calculate wormhole drift in her head. Zyra's voice softened. On my world, we are trained from birth to see the shape of motion, to know how stars breathe. That's beautiful, Eli said simply. Beautiful, she repeated the word, tasting it slowly like a foreign fruit. You use that word often. That's because it fits often, he said with a grin, especially right now. For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the soft hum of garden drones tending the flowers and the faint ripple of water. The glow from Zyra's skin reflected across Eli's face, painting him in soft lavender light. Then she sighed. They will never understand. Maybe not, Eli said, but I don't need everyone to understand, just you. Her heart thudded once. Humans are strange, she whispered again. And yet, he said, leaning back on the bench, you're still sitting next to one. Zyra gave a small laugh, light, musical, surprised. You are impossible. I prefer persistent, he said with mock pride. The laughter eased the air between them, but beneath it, something deeper stirred, a growing warmth, fragile and bright. As the garden lights shifted to evening mode, the silver leaves glowed brighter, and shadows stretched across the pathways. A small drone floated past, its metallic eye blinking red as it scanned the area. Eli watched it go. You know, he said, if they keep gossiping about us, we might as well give them something real to talk about. Zyra looked at him sharply, meaning. He winked. Team up for the navigation trials. You and me, human and veiled moon. Let's make the rumor worth it. Her tendrils flickered gold in shock. You would fly with me. They would mock us even more. He grinned. Then we'll give them a show. Zyra stared at him for a long time, then let out a soft sigh. You are trouble, Eli Graham of Earth. Guilty, he said cheerfully, but I'm fun trouble. The garden's lights dimmed to twilight. Stars blinked awake above the transparent dome, and in that soft glow, Zyra felt something she hadn't felt in years, lightness. Like maybe laughter could be armor and friendship could be rebellion. Very well, she said finally, we shall fly together. Eli's grin widened. That's the spirit. As they walked back toward the dorms, side by side under the starlit canopy, whispers followed them again. But this time, Zyra didn't lower her head. Because beside her walked the one creature in the galaxy who saw her differently. Not as strange, not as wrong, but as something beautiful. The announcement came with a flare of golden holograms above the main atrium. Attention, cadets. The interspecies navigation trials begin in 3 days. Cheers erupted through the hall. The trials were famous, part race, part strategy, part survival test. Teams of two would fly through simulated asteroid fields, gravitational mazes, and cosmic storms. It was the Academy's biggest event, broadcast across half the galaxy. Eli stood beneath the glowing letters with a grin spreading across his face. "Perfect," he murmured. "Couldn't have timed it better." Zyra, standing beside him, looked less excited. "You mean this is your plan," she said carefully, "to enter that madness?" He turned to her with his usual reckless sparkle. "Come on, Zyra, you said you'd fly with me." "I said I would consider it," she corrected, her four eyes narrowing slightly. "You humans have a dangerous habit of skipping the important parts of sentences." Eli chuckled. "And you veiled moons have a habit of worrying too much." From across the hall came laughter, sharp, mocking laughter that pricked like needles. The Varkan cadets were gathered near the sign, sneering. "Look, the human thinks he can fly with the Shimmer Girl," one shouted. "Careful, Earth Boy, she might melt your controls." Another added, "Bet they crash before the first checkpoint. He'll be cosmic dust with tentacles." Eli ignored them, but Zyra's tendrils darkened, curling close to her head. "They mock us again," she said quietly. "Good," Eli replied. "Means they're watching. We'll give them a show they'll never forget." She turned to him, torn between alarm and admiration. "You cannot win such trials with arrogance." "Who said anything about arrogance?" he said, smiling. "This is confidence, completely different." "Your species confuses the two often," she muttered, but the corners of her lips curved faintly, betraying a hint of amusement. They trained together for 2 days straight. Zyra's ship, the Silver Current, was built for grace, not speed. Her people designed it like a sculpture, curved wings of crystalline alloy, glowing with soft light. Every movement was quiet, elegant, almost like the ship was breathing. Eli, on the other hand, had his old Earth-made fighter, patched, scratched, and loud. "Is that supposed to be safe?" Zyra asked as they inspected it side by side. He patted the metal affectionately. "She's fine. Just don't touch the left panel unless you want the oxygen filter to explode." Her eyes widened. "You jest." "I mostly." Despite their differences, they made a strange kind of balance. Zyra calculated gravitational pulls by instinct, seeing invisible patterns that no human computer could predict. Eli was fast with the hands-on stuff, reacting to chaos like it was a sport. During one training run, a meteor simulation malfunctioned. The rocks came in twice as dense. Zyra's voice stayed calm over the comms. "Vector 35 degrees starboard, now pitch 8 down. No, now." Eli obeyed, hands flying over the controls, barely missing a spinning chunk of iron. The ship rolled sharply, light streaking past. When they finally broke through the field, both were breathless. "Holy," Eli laughed, "you're incredible." Zyra's tendrils flickered gold with embarrassment. "You were the one flying." "Yeah, but you were the one keeping me alive." She looked away, pretending to study the readings, but her glow brightened. "We make an efficient team," she admitted. "Efficient," he said, grinning. "I was thinking more legendary." The day of the trials arrived. The hangar buzzed with excitement, full of ships and cheering cadets. Holographic drones floated above, broadcasting live feeds across the academy. Eli strapped in beside Zyra. "You ready, partner?" Her voice was steady. "I'm ready to prove them wrong." "Ata girl," he said. She turned slightly. "Ata girl. It's an Earth thing, means you're awesome." Her tendrils rippled with amusement. Then "Ata boy," Eli Graham of Earth. He grinned like a fool. "That's my favorite phrase now." When the countdown hit 0, their ship launched from the platform like a streak of light. The first section was easy, wide turns through glowing rings. But soon the asteroid maze began. Massive rocks spun in every direction, some glowing with energy fields that could fry a ship's systems. "Left, right, no, your other right," Eli shouted, dodging debris. Zyra's hands danced across the controls. "Trust the pattern," she called. "They follow the pull of a collapsed moon core. Do not fight the motion." He did as she said, letting the ship drift instead of forcing it. Suddenly, the chaos smoothed into rhythm. They moved like dancers, slipping between asteroids in perfect synchrony. When they hit the gravitational tunnel, most teams slowed down. Zyra didn't. Her eyes glowed silver and she whispered, "Follow my count. 3, 2, now." Eli slammed the thrusters, and they shot through the swirling tunnel in a blaze of violet light. Cheers echoed through the comms. Even the commentators sounded shocked. "They're doing it. The human and the veiled moon are leading the pack." When they finally crossed the finish beacon, the entire hangar erupted in stunned silence. Then cheers, real ones. Zyra's breathing was quick, her skin glowing bright from the rush. We did it." Eli threw his arms up. "We won." He unstrapped, turned to her, and without thinking, grabbed her hand, 4 delicate fingers that pulsed faintly with light. "We just made history." Her voice trembled, somewhere between disbelief and laughter. "You are impossible," she whispered again. "Yeah," he said softly, "but you like impossible things." She didn't deny it. As they exited the ship, the same students who once mocked them now stared in silence. Some even clapped. The Varkin who had sneered at them looked away, his scales flushing pale. Zyra stood tall beside Eli, her glow warm and steady. For the first time, she didn't try to dim it. When the Academy headmistress approached with a smile, she said, "Impressive work, Cadet Graham. And Cadet Zyra, your calculations were flawless. You've set a new course record." Eli leaned close, whispering, "Told you we'd give them a show." Zyra glanced at him, her eyes bright as stars. "Yes," she said softly, "and perhaps this is only the beginning." He smiled. "You read my mind." As the crowd cheered and the galaxy watched, a human and an alien stood side by side, no longer the joke of the Academy, but its new legends. And somewhere, far above the hangar, 2 new stars seemed to flare brighter, as if the universe itself was clapping along. Victory should have brought peace. But peace was never what the galaxy gave to those who broke its rules. Eli and Zyra's win in the navigation trials spread through the Academy like a comet tail, bright, unstoppable, and noisy. Every student had seen it. Every instructor had talked about it. And every gossip circuit in 10 light systems buzzed with the same line: "The human and the alien." At first it seemed harmless, admiring even, but whispers are clever things. They start soft, then they sharpen. She must have controlled his mind. No human flies that well without help. She used her glow. It hypnotizes, you know. Zyra heard them all. Her species' hearing was too keen to ignore it. She stopped going to the cafeteria with Eli. She stopped training with him. She even started walking through the maintenance tunnels instead of the main halls. When Eli noticed her absence, he went searching. He found her in the observatory late one night, standing before a great glass window that looked out onto a field of stars. Her glow was dim, her tendrils hanging low. "Hey," he said softly, "you've been avoiding me." Zyra didn't turn. "You should not have come." He stepped closer. "You sound like I walked into a war zone." "In a way, you did." Her voice was quiet, but there was a tremor in it. "They speak of us as if we are something unnatural. They say I bewitched you, that I bent your thoughts with my light." Eli frowned. "That's ridiculous. You're not some monster," she interrupted. Her silver eyes flicked to him, shimmering with hurt. "I have been called that before." He shook his head. "No, not that, never that." Zyra turned back to the stars, her reflection faint in the glass. "You do not understand. To my people, joining with another species is forbidden. To yours it is unthinkable. And yet you stand here, smiling, as if the galaxy will not tear us apart for it." Eli stepped beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "You're assuming I care what the galaxy thinks." She laughed bitterly. You are reckless as always. And you, he said gently, are scared. Her tendrils stilled. I am not. Yeah, you are. His tone softened. And that's okay, but don't shut me out because of what a few loud idiots say. She finally looked at him, her expression fragile, unsure. You do not see what I see when I look in that glass. You see a woman with strange colors and curious eyes. I see a reminder that I will never fit among you. Eli studied her reflection. The light of the stars spilled over her like silver rain. Funny, he said. I was thinking the opposite. Zyra blinked. The opposite. Yeah, he smiled faintly. You fit in a place bigger than anyone else here. You see things they'll never see. You feel things they'll never feel. That's not a curse, Zyra. That's your magic. Her four eyes softened, glistening. You always speak such strange poetry. It's not poetry, he said. It's the truth. For a moment, silence filled the observatory. Outside, a small meteor crossed the stars, glowing gold against black. Zyra's breath hitched, and something inside her cracked open, quietly, like ice thawing under sunlight. Then she whispered, Eli. Yeah. What do humans call it? She said slowly. When someone looks at another and sees beauty, even when others see strangeness. He smiled. We call that love. The word hung between them like a spark in the air. Zyra blinked, all four eyes startled. Love, she tested it on her tongue, soft and uncertain. That word, it feels heavy. It can be, he said quietly, but it's worth carrying. Her tendrils glowed faintly pink, the color of wonder maybe. And you feel this, love. Eli hesitated, then nodded once. Yeah, I do. Zyra turned away again, her voice trembling. You should not say that. Why not? Because it will break you. Her gaze lifted to the endless stars. The Academy will not allow it. My people will not forgive it. Love between worlds has never ended well. Eli stepped closer, close enough that her glow brushed his skin like warmth from a small sun. Then maybe it's time someone proved them wrong. She closed her eyes, her four lids falling slowly like falling petals. You do not know what you ask of me. Sure I do, he said softly. I'm asking you to stop hiding behind what everyone else says you can't be. Zyra let out a long breath, the sound delicate and sad. Humans, she whispered, always pushing forward even when the void waits ahead. That's the thing about us, Eli said, smiling slightly. We jump and figure out the gravity later. She looked at him again, really looked, and for a heartbeat all the fear fell away. In his eyes she saw no mockery, no disgust, no hesitation, only warmth, stubborn and endless. And she realized then that maybe, just maybe, love was not something forbidden. Maybe it was something brave. Still, she stepped back, voice barely a whisper. I need time. He nodded. Take it, I'll be here. When he left, the observatory lights dimmed, leaving her alone with the stars. But the silence no longer felt heavy. It felt alive. Zyra touched the glass where his reflection had been moments ago. Her fingers glowed faintly, tracing the shape of where he stood. Love, she repeated softly, as if learning a new word. Outside, a comet streaked past, lighting her face in a wash of silver fire. And though the galaxy still whispered and judged, she found herself smiling. Because for the first time, she didn't feel strange. She felt seen. And somewhere far down the corridor, Eli paused at a window, looking up at the same stars. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, rumors, punishments, maybe worse. But he knew one thing for sure. He had called an alien woman beautiful. And nothing in the galaxy could make him take it back. The storm came without warning. One moment, the Galactic Academy floated peacefully above the shimmering blue world of Lyris IX, its orbit calm and steady. The next, alarms blared through every hallway. The sky outside the dome turned crimson, and meteor fragments streaked across space like burning arrows. Impact shields are failing, shouted a voice over the intercom. Section C through F seal immediately. Eli was in the hangar when the first shockwave hit. The ground shook, sending toolkits and drones tumbling. Sparks rained from the ceiling. His heart pounded as the emergency lights flashed red. "Zyra," he yelled, grabbing his communicator. "Where are you?" Static answered, then a faint, trembling voice. "I am in Section E, the observatory corridor. The hull is breached." Eli's breath caught. Section E, that was one of the first areas marked unsafe. "Hang on, I'm coming to you." Eli, no, the path is sealed, you will not. But he was already running. The corridors were chaos. Smoke filled the air. Cadets sprinted for shelters while drones patched cracks in the walls with emergency sealant. The sound of metal groaning under pressure echoed through the halls. Eli darted through a half-collapsed passage, heart hammering. Every instinct screamed to turn back. Every rational thought told him it was suicide. But reason had never stood much of a chance against his heart. He reached a sealed bulkhead glowing red. Section E lockdown. Breach DATACTED. "Manual override," he growled, slamming his ID chip into the console. The system denied him. He cursed, "Zyra, can you hear me?" Her voice crackled through again, weaker this time. "Eli, the pressure is dropping. I cannot hold much longer. Don't you dare quit on me." He scanned the control panel, then noticed an emergency maintenance duct beside the door, half hidden under debris. He shoved the wreckage aside and crawled in. The duct was narrow and dark. Air hissed through tiny cracks. He could feel the temperature dropping. By the time he reached the exit, frost clung to his sleeves. He kicked the panel open and found her. Zyra knelt by a cracked viewport, her violet skin shimmering faintly against the cold. The air shimmered around her as she used her own bioelectric field to keep the pressure stable. The effort was burning her. "Zyra," he rushed forward. She turned weakly, eyes glowing dim. "You should not have come." "Too bad," he said, pulling her into his arms. "You're stuck with me." The crack in the viewport spread, spiderwebbing fast. The entire corridor trembled. "We need to get you out of here." "It is too late," she whispered. "The door is sealed, only a full system reset." "Then we'll reset it." Eli looked around, spotting the control node at the end of the hall. A tangle of wires sparked from its base. He set Zyra gently down. "Don't move, I've got this." "Eli." But he was already running. The air howled through the cracks as he ripped open the node casing. The circuits glowed red with heat. He slammed his hands into the wiring, sparks jumping across his skin. "Come on, come on." "Eli," Zyra's voice broke, "you will die." "Not if you keep talking." The system screamed in protest, but finally the emergency seals re-engaged. The air pressure stabilized with a hiss, and the alarms shifted from red to yellow. The crack stopped spreading. Eli sagged against the console, panting. "There, see, piece of cake." He turned and saw Zyra collapse. He ran to her, catching her just before she hit the floor. Her glow had dimmed to a faint pulse, her tendrils limp. "Zyra, hey, stay with me." Her voice was a whisper. "You reckless creature, you should not have risked." "Don't talk," he said. "Save your energy." She blinked slowly, her lower eyes half closing. "My energy, I used too much." He looked down. Her fingertips were burned, faintly smoking from channeling so much electricity. His throat tightened. "You saved the ship." She gave a soft, weak laugh. "I saved you." "That too," he said gently. He pulled her close, wrapping his jacket around her. Her skin was cold, almost glassy. He rubbed her hands, desperate to keep her warm. "You're gonna be fine, okay? I've got you." Zyra's 4 eyes met his. "You humans," she murmured, "always think you can fix everything." "Maybe not everything," he said softly, "but I can fix this." For a moment neither spoke. The storm outside roared on, but inside the sealed corridor time slowed. Her breath was shallow, glowing faintly with each exhale. His hand brushed her cheek, warmth against cold light. "Why did you come?" she whispered. Eli smiled faintly, because someone had to save the girl who saved everyone else. Her lips curved faintly, a ghost of a smile. "Your bravery is foolish." "Yeah," he said, "but it's yours now." Zyra blinked, confused. "Mine. Guess we're partners in that too." Her tendrils flickered weakly, a faint glimmer of gold, the color of amusement. "You are impossible." "And you're beautiful," he said quietly. She stared at him, stunned for a heartbeat. Then slowly her glow brightened, soft pink and silver like dawn through crystal. Outside the meteors thinned, the storm passed. When rescue teams finally broke through the bulkhead, they found them sitting together by the viewport. Zyra was weak but alive, her head resting on Eli's shoulder. He looked exhausted, soot-covered, smiling faintly as if nothing in the galaxy could touch him. The medic bots hurried them to the infirmary. Zyra was placed under a biolamp that restored her light. Eli sat beside her bed until she stirred. Her voice was faint but teasing. "You disobeyed every safety rule." "Yeah," he said, "but I also saved my co-pilot. I'll take the fine." She smiled, soft, glowing, real. "You are more than reckless, Eli Graham. You are stubborn light." He laughed quietly. "That's the nicest thing anyone's ever called me." And when her hand brushed his, tendril curling gently around his fingers, he knew he'd face 1,000 more storms if it meant seeing her light again. Outside the medbay window, the stars returned to calm. And for the first time since the storm began, everything felt still. Almost peaceful. Almost like love. The storm was over, but the aftermath lingered like a bruise across the Galactic Academy. Whole corridors were under repair. Drones hummed day and night, and rumors, of course, spread faster than the repairs themselves. They say the human ran straight into a vacuum breach. With her inside, why? Love spell, maybe. No human would risk that much for someone like her. Someone like her. Zyra had heard that phrase too many times to count, but this time it didn't sting the same. It hurt less because of him. Eli. He was recovering 2 burns on his hands, a few cracked ribs, and a reprimand from 3 different departments. Yet somehow he smiled through all of it. The medics called him reckless, his friends called him mad. Zyra called him alive. The medbay was quiet that evening. The sky outside was deep purple, the glow of Lyris IX painting the room in soft blue light. Zyra lay beneath a biolamp, her violet skin slowly regaining its glow. The burns on her arms had healed into faint silver lines, like starlight etched into her skin. When Eli slipped in, she was staring at them thoughtfully. "You missed your curfew," she said without turning. He smiled, didn't know heroes had curfews. Zyra tilted her head, eyes gleaming faintly. "Heroes. Well, you did save the entire station." He crossed his arms. "I just provided moral support and a few bad decisions." She laughed softly, the sound chiming like small bells. "You risked your life for me, Eli Graham of Earth. That is more than a bad decision." He moved closer, pulling up a chair beside her bed. "Worth it," he said simply. Zyra looked at him for a long moment. "Humans and their simple words," she said softly. "You always make everything sound easy." Maybe because the hard parts are worth making simple. Her tendrils flickered pink at that, shy and uncertain. "You are impossible." "I'm starting to think that's your favorite thing to call me," he teased. "It is accurate," she said, but her smile was gentle. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. The low hum of the biolamps filled the air. Eli leaned back, staring up at the ceiling. Zyra watched him from the corner of her eye. Humans fascinated her, so fragile, yet so stubborn. His heartbeat was strong even through the chaos, his eyes bright even when everything else burned. She finally spoke. "You know, when I was young, I was told humans were violent, that your kind only sought conquest and noise. Yet here you are, breaking into sealed decks just to keep one frightened alien breathing. Eli chuckled. We do like noise, I'll admit that, but we're not all conquerors. Some of us just really don't like losing people we care about. Zyra's glow brightened faintly. Care about? Yeah, his voice softened. You. She blinked, caught off guard. You care about me. He nodded slowly. I thought you figured that out when I nearly got myself spaced for you. Zyra's tendrils fluttered uncertainly, glowing in soft shades of gold. Humans and their emotions, she whispered. You throw them around like they weigh nothing. On the contrary, he said quietly, they weigh everything. I just don't like keeping them bottled up. Her eyes flicked down. Where I come from, emotion is sacred. We share it through light, through our glow. It is dangerous to give too much. It binds us. Sounds beautiful, he said, and kind of terrifying. It is both, she agreed softly. And yet, she paused, her voice trembling faintly. When you look at me, I feel my light respond. It frightens me. He leaned forward. Why? Because it means my heart listens to you, she whispered. And once it listens, it never forgets. Eli exhaled slowly. Zyra, listen. He reached for her hand, hesitating just a second before their fingers touched. Her skin was cool, smooth like glass, but beneath it he could feel a gentle pulse of warmth. I didn't just run into that corridor to play hero. I did it because. Do not say it, she interrupted softly, her eyes wide. Not yet. He frowned. Why not? Because if you speak it aloud, she said, I cannot unhear it. And if I cannot unhear it, I cannot protect myself from it. Eli's heart pounded. Protect yourself from what? From loving you back, she whispered. The room went still. The hum of machines seemed to fade into silence. Eli's breath caught in his throat. Zyra's gaze was unblinking, her glow trembling between pink and silver. Do you understand, human? If I feel this, my people will never let me return home. The Academy will never look at us without scorn. I will lose everything I have built. Eli didn't flinch. Then lose it and build something better with me. Her lips parted in shock. You cannot mean. I mean every word, he said firmly. I don't care what anyone thinks. I care about what's right here. He gently pressed her hand against his chest. You feel that? That's all I need. Her fingers trembled under his. Your heart, she whispered. It is so loud. He smiled. It's saying your name. Her glow brightened, spreading up her arms in shimmering waves. She looked torn between laughter and tears, if her kind even cried. You are reckless, she breathed. And you, he said softly, are worth every risk. Zyra closed her eyes, her forehead lowering until it rested against his. The air between them shimmered faintly with light, their breaths mingling. Her tendrils brushed his cheek, warm and soft. When she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. Eli Graham of Earth, you make me wish the stars would stop moving. He smiled. Then maybe we'll make them pause for a bit. The biolamps flickered, reflecting off her luminous skin, and for one quiet moment, time itself seemed to still. Two lives, one of fire, one of light, found balance in the calm between heartbeats. Outside, the station lights twinkled back to full brightness. The world carried on, unaware that inside one quiet medbay, a human and an alien had just rewritten the oldest rule of the galaxy. That love, against all odds, was always worth the fall. The galaxy spun on, indifferent to the love story blooming quietly aboard the Academy. But love never asked for permission. It simply existed, stubborn as gravity, bright as starlight. A few weeks had passed since the meteor storm. Repairs were nearly complete, though whispers still fluttered through the halls like restless ghosts. Did you hear? The human and the veiled moon are still together. Together? You mean together? She visits his flight deck every morning. She glows brighter now. Maybe it's the human. For once, Zyra didn't mind the gossip. She walked through the corridors without bowing her head, her light no longer dimmed to blend in. Eli often walked beside her, hands in his jacket pockets, smiling like he was proud of breaking every unspoken rule in the academy. And maybe he was. The day of the official ceremony arrived, the awarding of medals for heroism during the meteor crisis. The atrium was filled with cadets, officers, and press drones humming like metallic bees. Zyra stood backstage in a silver uniform that matched her skin's glow. The medals glinted under the lights. She adjusted the sash nervously, her 4 eyes glancing around. Eli appeared behind her, fixing his own collar, which was predictably crooked. "You look incredible," he said. "You look rumpled," she teased softly. He grinned. "Always, it's part of my charm." Her tendrils shimmered faintly, the color of amusement. "You should not stand too close when they call us. It will cause more talk." "Let them talk," he said, stepping closer anyway. "They already wrote the gossip hollows. Might as well give them a good ending." Before she could respond, the announcer's voice boomed. "Cadet Eli Graham of Earth and Cadet Zyra of the Veiled Moons, please step forward." The crowd hushed. As they walked on stage, 1,000 flashes from drone cameras filled the air. The headmistress smiled warmly, holding 2 medals. "For bravery beyond protocol," she said. "For compassion beyond fear. For reminding us all what unity looks like." The applause rose like a wave, echoing across the dome. Zyra's heart pounded. She glanced at Eli. He was grinning, of course, looking at her like there was no one else in the galaxy. When the headmistress pinned the medals on their chests, someone in the crowd shouted, "Kiss the human, Zyra." Laughter rippled through the audience. Zyra froze, unsure what to do. Eli just laughed and bowed dramatically. "Careful," he whispered to her. "They might start a petition." Zyra blushed, literally, her glow turning pink. After the ceremony, the 2 of them slipped away from the crowd. They found themselves in the quiet upper dome, where the transparent ceiling opened to the stars. No noise, no whispers, just them, and the infinite galaxy. Zyra leaned against the glass railing, gazing at the swirling blue nebula beyond. "You see those?" she asked softly. "That cluster there, Veil's Reach. That is where my people live. If I went back now, they would call me tainted." Eli stepped beside her. "Then don't go back," he said gently. "Go forward." She smiled faintly. Humans always say things like that, so simple, so brave. "Simple doesn't mean wrong," he said. "It just means we choose what matters most." Zyra turned to him, her silver eyes reflecting the stars. "And what matters most to you, Eli Graham of Earth?" He didn't hesitate. "You." Her breath caught. He moved closer, lowering his voice. "When I first saw you sitting alone in that cafeteria, I thought, how could anyone look at her and not see something amazing? And every day since, you've proved me right." Zyra blinked rapidly, her glow trembling like candlelight. "You always know how to use words to make the impossible sound real." "That's because it is real," he said. She looked down at her glowing hands. "You risked everything, Eli, your career, your reputation, for what?" "For this," he said softly, "for us." He reached out, brushing his fingers against hers. Her skin sparked faintly, light dancing between them like tiny fireflies. The touch sent a shiver through her, her tendrils curling upward in wonder. "Your pulse," she murmured, "it is so fast." "Yours too," he said, smiling. They stood like that for a moment, breathing the same air, surrounded by stars older than memory. Then quietly Zyra said, "Eli, my people have a tradition. When 2 hearts find harmony, they share their light." "Sounds romantic," he said, grinning. "How does it work?" She lifted her hands, palms glowing faintly. "Like this." Soft light bloomed between them, silver and gold, swirling gently until it rose around them like mist. Eli's heart raced as the light wrapped around his fingers, warm and pulsing in rhythm with hers. "What's happening?" he whispered. Zyra's voice was tender. "I am showing you my heart." He swallowed hard. "It's beautiful." "So is yours," she said. The light grew brighter, then slowly faded, leaving only the soft hum of the ship around them. Eli exhaled. "So does this mean we're, dadding in your culture?" Zyra tilted her head, amused. "In mine it means something much more." He blinked. "Should I be worried?" Her smile widened. "Only if you plan to run away." "Not a chance." They both laughed then, soft, free, and alive. The kind of laughter that chases away fear and reminds the universe that love doesn't follow rules. Zyra's laughter faded into a sigh. "You know," she said, gazing out at the stars, "if the galaxy knew what humans were capable of, they might stop underestimating you." Eli chuckled. "Let's keep that our little secret. Wouldn't want to ruin our mysterious reputation." She turned to him, eyes shining. "You have changed me, Eli." He smiled. "You've changed me too." The stars above shimmered brighter, reflecting in her eyes. Then, without thinking, without fear, she leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft and strange and beautiful. Her lips were cool, glowing faintly, and when they touched, he felt warmth spread through his chest like sunlight breaking through clouds. When they finally pulled apart, she whispered, "Now the stars will remember us." "Good," he said, smiling against her forehead. "Let them watch." Outside, two new lights flared across the nebula, brief, golden, and entwined. Perhaps it was coincidence. Or perhaps, as the legends later said, the stars themselves had chosen to mark the moment when a human and an alien taught the galaxy that love, like light, belongs to everyone who dares to reach for it. And beneath that endless sky, Eli and Zyra stood together, two hearts, one glow. Beautiful, unstoppable, and forever written among the stars.